Right now at 6, the Arma Public Library looks to solve some structural issues with its building.
And we've got another mild start to the day across the area, and it's going to be hot once again. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, area college students will have to wait again for federal aid assistance.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday. It's August the 27th. Here we are, another glorious day in the 4 states.
Yeah, it's just a few more days left of August.
Yeah, it's going to be September. I feel literally like we just started August. You know, we were discussing this last week. It really feels like August just started and it's almost over.
Right, especially with the changing temperatures and it being so hot. It just feels like it went on forever.
It did. And we've had this roller coaster ride of above average temperatures to below normal temperatures just going back and forth since June. And it will continue as we head through this week and into the weekend and next week. Let's start with the future track for today. Now, the future track, as we help you plan your afternoon, it starts at noon. But I do want to point out that we could see some isolated showers and storms. Mainly, it looks to be east of the 69 corridor prior to that, between about 10 and noon. Most of us will be dry, but just a heads up on that. As we head into the afternoon, between about 3 and 6 are northwestern counties. So Chanute, Fredonia, Yates Center, this zone here could see another round of isolated showers and storms, again, between about 3 and 6. But once again, the majority of us also will remain dry. We will be hot. And while we don't have any heat advisories out there today, we're still looking at heat index values up to 100 degrees. So just outside of that advisory criteria. So just because we don't have them doesn't mean it's not still hot. Doesn't mean you still don't need to be taking care of yourself. 74 in Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh. So most of us doing much better than where we were at this time yesterday morning, except our northern counties. Yates Center, Iola, and Chanute have been the 3 main cities that have been much warmer than everyone else, into the upper 70s. The rest of us are in the low to mid 70s. So again, we're still above normal, but we're doing better than what we were yesterday morning at this time, where some of us were pushing near 80 degrees. 72 when the kids get on the bus, mostly clear skies, south breeze about 5 to 10. When that bus brings them home again, for some of our northwestern counties, maybe a shower or storm. Otherwise, partly cloudy, hot 95. We're looking at highs again into the mid 90s today, and we could see some of those isolated storms into our northwestern counties as we head into the afternoon and early evening hours. Now we have that cold front coming toward the end of the week, and it's going to bring some very September-like changes for us. We'll have details on that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the Missouri Propane Safety Commission is helping in the investigation of an explosion that destroyed a house in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. The incident happened late Friday afternoon, and the explosion killed the 2 residents along with their dog. The massive explosion could be felt and seen for many miles. The blast blew open the doors of nearby houses, and no neighbors were hurt, although some reported damage to their homes. The Excelsior Springs Fire Department advises every homeowner to install a gas detector. And we have an update on the health of 2 firefighters following Sunday night's fire at East Joplin. Reports of the fire came in Sunday night around 7:45 from a house at the intersection of 2nd and High Street. The flames had spread to nearby vehicles in a storage building, but was under control in about 30 minutes. No injuries were reported, and 2 firefighters were transported to an area hospital for heat-related illness. At the time, 1 was released, but the 2nd was admitted for further observation and treatment. He has since been released. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, for the 2nd year in a row, parents and students can expect to see a months-long delay for the free application for federal student aid form, better known as FAFSA. Now, the current FAFSA opened in late December of last year, causing concerns with delayed form completion. delayed aid reports, and delayed award packages from universities. The U.S. Department of Education announced the form for the 2025-2026 school year will be open to students 2 months later than usual. Some local college students say it was stressful dealing with delays this year, and they aren't excited to deal with them again.
I was just really stressed out. I considered not going, but I feel like it's better that I did, and I'm glad that I did get the aid that I needed. But I definitely was really anxious for a long time, and yeah, it made my skin and everything flare up. I was just anxious.
The series of delays comes after Congress passed the FAFSA Simplification Act in 2020. The act led to an overhaul of the previous system in hopes of simplifying the process for families and students. The Arma, Kansas Library hopes to upgrade their building and fix some structural concerns. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more on the story.
It became a rather expensive adventure for the city itself.
The Arma City Library is more than just a library. It's a place where people in the Arma community go to access the internet, get food from the pantry, and find books, which is why they're trying to upgrade it to make it the best it can be.
For senior citizens as well as kindergartners in holding different programs for different age groups. It's a good communal point for people to meet, and we want to keep it that way.
In the past, the library building has had a mold issue, and as a result of removing it, they're now looking at a new concern, repairing the sheetrock and walls that were ripped out. Betty Lesson, the city clerk, says one of the causes of the mold was the age of the building.
The building, it's been there a long time. It was a bowling alley.
The library received a grant to upgrade the building, but it wasn't used because the cost of the repairs were much more than the grant amount. They even considered purchasing a new building, but the cost was out of the city's budget.
A new building, which if it had been before COVID, might have happened. But prices soared with COVID. And so in such, we the city could not afford.
The Arma Library has installed new LED lighting, and they're hoping to make more upgrades in the future, like making their door accessible for wheelchairs. Reporting in Arma, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The City Council will meet on September 3rd to decide on funding and how they'll fix the walls in the library. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. A judge has ordered a new immigration program by the Biden administration paused for at least 2 weeks. Plus, former President Donald Trump is casting doubt on his first debate with Vice President Kamala Harris. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Tuesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from King Jack Park, located in Webb City. Topping a Nation Watch this morning. Kroger and Albertsons are fighting the FTC's attempt to block the largest supermarket merger in U.S. history. A federal judge in Portland, Oregon is hearing from both sides in a trial that started Monday and is scheduled to last for 3 weeks. The Federal Trade Commission is requesting a preliminary injunction to delay the deal. Federal regulators argue the nearly $25 billion merger is anti-competitive and would lead to higher grocery prices for consumers. Kroger says that's not the case and has pledged to lower prices after the merger. The retailers say joining forces is necessary to better compete with grocery rivals like Walmart, Amazon, and Costco. The hearing is expected to last until mid-September. Well, a Biden administration immigration program that would give spouses of U.S. citizens legal status without having to leave the country has been temporarily paused. The Department of Homeland Security has already begun taking applications for the program called Keeping Families Together. Texas and 15 other states challenged the new policy, and a federal judge in Texas on Monday ordered a 2-week stay of approving any applications while the court weighs the merits of the case. President Joe Biden announced the program in June that could help up to 500,000 undocumented immigrants. It offers spouses of U.S. citizens without legal status who have been living in the U.S. for at least 10 years a path to citizenship. Well, debate dispute after former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris appear to be at odds over some of the rules. The vice president spent yesterday in Washington following last week's big Democratic National Convention, while the former president was on the campaign trail in Virginia and Michigan. Jared Hill has more from New York.
Thank you.
Former President Donald Trump casting doubt on his first debate with Vice President Kamala Harris, just 2 weeks before the two were set to go head-to-head.
I said, why am I doing it? Let's do it with another network. I want to do it.
Trump slamming the debate's host network as Harris pushes for change of her own. Her campaign writing, Trump's handlers prefer the muted microphone because they don't think their candidate can act presidential for 90 minutes on his own. It was an arrangement made during the only debate between Trump and President Biden. Yesterday, the former president suggested he'd have no problem with the switch.
Doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on.
Also yesterday, Trump sought to tie Harris to the attack that killed 13 troops at Kabul airport 3 years ago during the Biden administration's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. He laid a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery and campaigned in Michigan.
The humiliation in Afghanistan set off the collapse of American credibility.
Harris released a statement saying those who died in the Kabul attack represented the best of America. She's believed to be preparing for the debate this week, while surrogates hit the campaign trail Monday.
Kamala is going to help America's working families, America's middle class.
Later this week, Harris heads to Georgia, while Trump will be campaigning in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The Harris campaign spokesperson posted on social media that they believe the issues for the debate are settled for September 10th. And the two vice presidential nominees are scheduled to debate on October 1st. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we actually have some gravity waves showing up on the radar. So some of them have dissipated, but they've left clouds behind. There's some around Wichita. They're coming off of thunderstorms rolling off to our north, and these may ultimately be the trigger for a few pop-up storms east of 69 as we head a little later into the morning. We'll have details on that and a big cool down on the way in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes.
Formerly incarcerated men and women getting a chance to show off their creative talents. And that reveal comes in a judgment-free space with a special emphasis on women and art in a new museum created to showcase their work. Josh Sanders takes us to the ribbon-cutting ceremony.
People now open the door for all of us at one time.
With the cut of a ribbon and cheers of adoration, Reverend Michelle Simmons and dozens of formerly incarcerated women ushered in the beginning of a new story for people often defined by their past.
And it was real important that we leave a legacy because we're so powerful. We're absolutely not our mistakes.
Reverend Simmons is the founder and executive director of Why Not Prosper, a local nonprofit helping women re-entering society after prison, providing opportunities to reclaim their identity through education and job placement. From incarceration to inspiration, today launching The Firm, short for Formerly Incarcerated Renaissance Museum, dedicated to the successes of people, particularly women, walking a new path.
And I thought, you're a bunch of all these formerly incarcerated people all over the country. Why not highlight everybody?
Sadia Bagley was behind bars for 10 years. She is one of the artists whose literal hand went into the artwork displayed on the walls.
I have two girls, and I get to show them that even after a mistake, mommy was able to propel forward and do something different with her life.
Inside the Firm is an often painful history, presented in artifacts both in permanent and temporary exhibitions.
What goes through your mind when you look at this artwork?
Promise. That there's a promise there for every woman, every man, every boy, every girl.
Reverend Simmons says the firm's mission is to empower the voices of women who may be free but still pay a price for their past.
We are not totally free right now. You know, they still hold it right against voting for some of us formerly incarcerated. They still discriminate around jobs and housing. But the most part, freedom mean to me just being able to walk in my true, authentic self.
It's that authentic self, Simmons says, breaks the chains of the past and gives hope to a brighter future.
This is a day to showcase who we really are, right, and rewrite some stories and narratives that's being held over our heads.
The museum will feature the art of formerly incarcerated artists from over 22 states and 3 countries. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
We've got an absolutely beautiful start to the day out there. Some of us still a bit on the warm side. Another look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:22 on this Tuesday morning, and we're going to start with the future track. Now again, because we're planning your day for you, we started at noon, but ahead of that, between roughly 10 a.m. and noon, we could see a couple of isolated showers or storms east of the 69 corridor. They're not going to show up here because again, we're starting at noon. Then as we head into the afternoon, they've shown up and disappeared, but I'm still going to stick with some of the original data where we could see between 3 and 6 some additional isolated storms from roughly Yates Center, Fredonia, Chanute, right along this line in our northwestern counties. In both situations, though, the majority of us are just going to be hot and dry with partly cloudy skies. We're going to continue hot and dry as we head into our Wednesday. We'll have another opportunity for some isolated pop-up showers out there. These will be a little more widespread across the area. And what I mean is there's better chances over a broader area, whereas today they're kind of confined to 2 different zones. We could see them over a broader area, but again, the majority of us tomorrow will remain dry. Then we go into our Thursday, and it's going to be another hot and dry day, at least initially. Then we have a cold front that's going to come through late Thursday. Now ahead of it, could see a couple of pop-up showers or storms, but overnight Thursday and early Friday morning, take a look off to the northwest. Here comes that cold front, and here comes some shower and thunderstorm chances to go along with it. Now today, we don't have any heat advisories in our area, but bear in mind, those are issued based on the criteria. We're not going to meet that, but we're going to be awfully darn close. Heat index values today still approaching 100 degrees. We still have a moderate to even major heat risk as we head through the day today. Now for Wednesday, most of us still in that moderate zone. By Thursday, we start to see some improvement, and it will be Friday that we see a significant improvement as we fall back into the minor heat risk, and that risk continues to drop Saturday, Sunday, and then by Monday, take a look at this, a good portion of the area in the little to no risk category thanks to that cold front. I apologize, my nose won't stop itching. 74 in Joplin right now, south breeze at 5. Beautiful sunrise out there though. And in an unusual twist, we're a little warmer to the north this morning. So Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, some of the warmer spots out there into the upper 70s. The rest of us low to mid 70s. So the majority of us seeing an improvement over yesterday's start to the day, but we're still above normal out there. A few clouds through the day. Again, some isolated storms along and east of 69. Most of us still dry. Mid 80s by 11 o'clock. Our highs today going into the mid 90s. And then we'll have that second round of pop-up storms in our northwestern counties later today, again between about 3 and 6, with the majority of us still dry. Mostly clear skies through the evening and overnight, and back into the low 70s, so again slightly better but still above normal out there. Mid 90s again Wednesday and Thursday. Cold front comes through, brings us thunderstorm chances through the day Friday. Nothing severe expected at this time, but we're still a few days out. We'll keep a close eye on it for you, but otherwise some much needed rain and much cooler temperatures. Mid 80s, upper 80s through the weekend. Another wave comes through by Sunday, drops our overnight lows into the upper 50s and our afternoon highs below normal into the low 80s. So just a few more days and relief is on the way. Let's check your forecast. Now here's Elise with Health Watch.
All right, thanks Chris. Well, there has been an alarming rise in the number of heat-related deaths over the past decade. According to a new study published in JAMA, heat was blamed for 412 deaths in the U.S. in 2014 and more than 2,300 last year. The study found a downward trend between 1999 and 2014 before a significant spike over the next 9 years. Researchers expected this increase to continue and say local governments in high-risk areas should invest test in cooling centers for the public. And to prevent burnout, doctors should rely on non-physician collaborators to take notes on patients. A study from the University of Maryland found providers who use scribes and other forms of collaboration increase the number of patients they see by 10%. Doctors who most relied on others decreased the amount of time compiling notes by about 28%. And people who got myocarditis from COVID-19 had more complications than those who got the heart inflammation from mRNA COVID vaccines. French researchers looked at 4,600 patients over an 18-month period, and 2% of post-vaccine myocarditis patients needed to be hospitalized for another heart-related issue, compared to 7% of those with post-COVID myocarditis. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, local conservation experts warn drivers to be extra cautious about deer this time of year.
And we've got ourselves a nice looking start to the day, still above normal, and it's going to be another hot one. A look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, Pittsburgh students, residents, and business owners turn out to paint the city of Pittsburgh red.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 6:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Tuesday here in the 4 states. Yes. It's the second Monday, or in some cases, it doesn't have to be a Monday, you know. It can be a good day, too.
Yeah,
why not?
Absolutely.
It's going to be a hot one, though. I know it was pretty darn hot yesterday. We don't have any heat advisories today. But that doesn't mean it's not still going to be hot outside, because there's criteria, just like for severe thunderstorm warnings, things like that. There's criteria that has to be met. We're not going to meet it. We're going to be awfully darn close.
Yeah, still take all those precautions when
you
you're
certainly
outside,
want to,
stay hydrated. Absolutely.
You guys know the drill, unfortunately, as we've been through it since June of this year has been going on. We also have the possibility of a couple of rounds of some pop-up showers or thunderstorms out there. I'm going to start with the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Now, right now, there's really not much on it. We are seeing some light, little spotty showers trying to get going down across parts of Lawrence, eastern Jasper, and into Newton County. Some of this activity is actually real. But what I want to show you are the gravity waves coming off of these thunderstorms that we're lifting now well into Nebraska. It's formed them. Now, they're dissipating on radar, but these waves could also be what triggers some of the first round of isolated pop-up showers and storms that look to mainly be along and east of the 69 corridor, roughly between, say, 10 a.m. and noon today. But we'll keep an eye on it in case it flares anything up ahead of that. But it'll also leave behind some energy for another potential round of isolated showers and storms in our northwestern counties. So a Chanute, Fredonia, Yates Center zone here could see some additional isolated showers and storms between 3 and 6 today. Now again, they've disappeared from the future track in some of the newer updates, but I do believe that that's still at least going to be an isolated possibility as we head through the day and into the afternoon. Sitting at 74 in Joplin, 71 in Pittsburgh. So remember, we were much warmer than this, especially at Joplin, for example, yesterday, pushing close to 80. We had a number of locations doing that. Still warm. Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, some of the warmer spots out there, upper 70s. The rest of us, though, hanging out into the low to mid 70s to start our day. So still above average, but a slight improvement over where we were 24 hours ago. Low 70s when the kids get on the bus this morning, mostly clear skies. South breeze at about 5 to 10. Winds shifting out of the southwest later. Again, our northwestern counties could see a stray shower or storm. The rest of us hot, dry, partly cloudy, mid 90s out there when that bus comes home. Highs today, mid 90s. Heat index values today, although they're below heat advisory criteria, still close to 100 degrees. So as Elise mentioned, make sure you're taking those precautions out there. Otherwise, again, just partly cloudy skies. Now the heat's going to continue for a couple more days, and we got a nice cold front coming in as we head toward the end of this week. That's going to really change things up for us in a good way. We'll have a look at that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Cold front definitely sounds nice. Thanks, Chris. Well, the Missouri Department of Conservation says you need to be extra mindful of deer this time of year while driving. Deer mating season is October and November, which means they'll be out in greater numbers. MDC conservationists say you should never swerve to avoid hitting a deer, and that it's better to hit it head on.
So that means that one of the things we have to be on the lookout for is winter driving for deer crossing the roads. The peak time for this activity is October and November, because that's when the deer mating season is. But that doesn't mean that deer aren't moving at other times of the year too.
Conservationists also say it's important to have your high beam lights on while traveling at night so you can see farther in front of you. And the Missouri Department of Conservation is also tracking an invasive species of lizard in the Joplin area. They're asking for people to let them know if they spot this lizard. It's called an Italian wall lizard. You might find it in the Wildcat or Silver Creek Glades areas. The Italian wall lizard escaped from a Joplin area collector in the early 2000s. They're commonly seen in rocky habitats and on walls and building foundations.
Non-native species always compete with native species, and that's never a good thing. And in the case of Italian wall lizards, they can have multiple broods a year. They may have up to 3 to 4 broods per year. So they can multiply quickly. Also, they obviously aren't impacted by the weather. If they've been here since the early 2000s, whatever type of winter we've had, they've been able to survive that.
If you're thinking it might make for a good pet, you might want to slow down. As of this coming Friday, you could face misdemeanor charges for having one. The penalty is up to a year in jail and a possible fine for up to $2,000. Well, the city of Pittsburgh gets ready for its annual Paint the Town Red celebration. The event marks the first Gorillas home game of the season, and it also gives businesses a chance to get in on the celebration by decorating their businesses with red and gold in this case. Well, one business owner enjoys seeing the kids getting involved in this city pride.
I just like the local feel here. I always have, even as a student. So it's not too much different, but it's just good to see all these kids getting involved and like knowing what Pittsburgh's all about. And that's kind of why we stayed here after college. So
this year's theme is City of Champions. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Some air travelers got a steep discount on first-class seats that turned out to be too good to be true. And we have another hot and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. I'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from King Jack Park located in Webb City. And Consumer Watch this morning. Some tourists are trimming their bucket list on trips and happy to just relax and plan not much of anything. Those in the travel industry say the do-nothing vacation is gaining lots of new converts. Wendy Gillette has today's Travel Tuesday.
At the Intercontinental Maldives, private pools, solitary stretches of sand, and the turquoise water of the Indian Ocean coax travelers to surrender to the scenery.
You can come and just reconnect with yourself and be surrounded by nature and don't feel like you have to do something. You don't have to go and explore.
Those who do venture out are often rewarded, snorkeling among a squadron of manta rays or discovering hideouts on the private island to lounge around. The simple strategy of letting your whims rule the day is becoming more popular. Rest and relaxation has increased as a primary motivation for traveling, up to 21% in February compared to 17% in September, according to market research firm Longwoods International. It's partly why more all-inclusive resorts are opening, including Herodance Ara, also in the Maldives, where stays have stretched out post-pandemic.
They want to come for long holidays and they want to take a real good break from their work life or busy life.
Executive chef Emilia Silva offers cooking classes and a special tasting menu. Two-story overwater suites come with a stocked refrigerator and wine cooler, all free to drink.
The all-inclusive approach can also be found closer to home in Canada at Club Med Quebec Charlevoix, where you can do as little or as much as you want, depending on your mood.
If you want to sprinkle in more activity, there's hiking, mountain biking, or skiing, depending on the season, with spectacular vistas about an hour's drive from Quebec City. And an expansive kids program. Doing less at the resort, one of those we stayed at for a special rate, can also mean some quality hot tub time in the exclusive collection space, which offers more luxury amenities, or sitting down for leisurely meals.
Everything is all included. You can do lots of sports if you want to. are truly disconnected.
Club Med rolled out a new campaign last year. That's L'Esprit Libre, loosely translated to true freedom of mind, what more travelers are now seeking. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Apple says it will unveil its latest iPhones and watches on September 9th. The event will be live streamed on the tech giant's website and the Apple TV app. As is typical for Apple, the new products likely won't be available to buy for another few weeks following the unveiling. More than 20 additional Red Lobster locations will be closing in the coming days as part of the seafood chain's bankruptcy process. The company is selling itself to Fortress Investment Group. More than 100 restaurants closed earlier this summer after the company filed for Chapter 11. Roughly 500 Red Lobster restaurants will remain open after these latest closings. And some air travelers got a steep discount on first-class seats that turned out to be too good to be true. Australian airline Qantas accidentally sold 300 first-class tickets between Australia and the U.S. for almost 85% off the usual price. That means tickets that normally range from $13,000 to $20,000 were sold for less than $3,400. The company is blaming a coding flaw in its booking system, and it has since been fixed. Customers who bought the cheap tickets have the option of getting a refund or being reassigned to business class. That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are watching for the possibility of a few pop-up showers and storms east of the 69 corridor this morning. This is not really there, but we do have some gravity waves that came off some storms earlier this morning, and they're pushing off to the south and east, and we're starting to see some shower activity try to develop out there, but there's a look at those waves, and they're coming off of storms that are lifting into Nebraska now, and it also could leave some residual energy for some additional isolated storms in our northwestern counties a little later this afternoon. First round could be between about, say, 10 a.m. and noon east of 69, and then the second round will be later this afternoon between about 3 and 6 in our northwestern counties out there. Outside of that, the majority of us are going to be dry and hot as we head through the day today, with heat index values still approaching about 100, so not quite heat advisory levels, but still hot to say the least. 74 in Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh, so still above normal, but better than we were 24 hours ago. Save our northern cities. Yates Center, Iola, Chanute still holding on to the upper 70s out there. Some of the warmer spots. The rest of us, again, low to mid 70s. One more look at that bus stop forecast. Kids getting on. Low 70s for most of us. Mostly clear skies, south breeze 5 to 10. And then again, for our northwestern counties, an isolated shower or storm possible. The rest of us, partly cloudy, hot, mid-90s when that bus brings them back home. We're going to have another full look at your forecast here in just a moment. We're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, thinking about getting a new car, maybe a used one. We're going to reveal Consumer Reports' new list of the top-ranked used car brands. That is coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Tuesday birthdays in the 4 states. We're going to start with Timber Robinson, celebrating number 10 in Nevada with love coming from your family. Happy birthday.
Also celebrating their 10th birthday is Emma Long. It says here, happy birthday from your mom, dad, and sisters. We love you very much. Happy birthday.
And over in Frontenac, Easton Jesse celebrating birthday number 13. Happy birthday, Easton.
And happy 14th birthday to Drew Johnson in Thayer.
And in Liberal, Addie Meadows also celebrating birthday number 14. It says, we love you from Mima, Papa Gary, and Grandma Leanne.
And over in Galesburg, another 14th birthday. Happy birthday to Lauren Pack.
And in Oswego, Cameron Chavez celebrating birthday number 18. Happy birthday, Cameron.
And happy 19th birthday to Cole Lawrence in Joplin.
And Jessica Honschel celebrating birthday number 37 in Carthage. A very happy birthday to you, Jessica.
And a happy 38th birthday. Lots of birthdays here. We have Sandy Armbula, who's over in Pittsburgh. And then we have Bobby, Ricky, and Randy McMeechin. They live in California, Missouri, Joplin, and Clarksburg. So happy birthday to you all. Lots of celebrations
That's
there.
a big celebration happening there. Very happy birthday. And we also have Rhonda Andrews celebrating birthday number 48. A great throwback picture there. Or, as we mentioned before, maybe Rhonda is ageless. It is possible. And it says, happy birthday to the best Gigi. Happy birthday, Rhonda.
And happy 60th birthday to Donna Miller in Chanute.
And in Girard, Sue Johnson celebrating birthday number 75 with love from your grandkids. Happy birthday, Sue.
And a happy birthday to Patty Batten in Pittsburgh, turning 95 today. Happy birthday.
And in Savenburg, Kansas, Lori Shue celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday, Lori.
And over in Tahlequah, happy 36th birthday to Andrea Robinson. It says happy birthday from your husband, Demetrius.
And we also have Bob Robinson celebrating a birthday in Baxter Springs. Happy birthday, Bob. All right, another great list of birthdays and anniversaries. We love celebrating these every day with you all. And if you'd like to celebrate with us, Elise has some information for you.
Go ahead and submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include those photos and messages as well, and to, of course, meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen.
And we've got some weather to discuss as well. We got another hot day for us out there, starting with a live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. Here comes the sun. Got a few low clouds out there. Otherwise, a pretty nice start to the day. Most of us cooler than where we were. Still above normal, but slightly better than we were 24 hours ago. Our camera 7th and range line also looking pretty good this morning. Same from the MoDOT camera at 20th and range line. And over in Kansas, the KDOT camera on 69 and Kansas Crossing looking fairly good this morning as well. So we got that possibility of some isolated storms at this point still looking possible east of the 69 corridor, say roughly between 10 a.m. and noon today. Then we'll have another round of isolated storms possible in our northwestern counties. So this Fredonia-Chanute line up toward Yates Center, this zone here will have an opportunity between about 3 and 6 today for an isolated shower or storm. Then we'll head into our Wednesday, and well, we still have another chance for isolated storms. They'll still be very isolated like today, the majority of us dry. The difference tomorrow is it's not going to be confined to 2 zones. We'll have that opportunity for a pop-up shower or storm across the entire area on Wednesday, but again, the majority of us will remain dry and hot. Thursday, also most of the day, dry and hot. It'll be late Thursday night that we get a cold front that's going to roll in. Now, I do see the opportunity for maybe an isolated shower or storm ahead of this front, but by about 1 o'clock in the morning, right after midnight, that cold front starts to enter our area, and it's going to bring those thunderstorm chances with it. Now, some good news, at least at this point, we are not looking at anything strong or severe with this cold front, but we are still a few days out. We'll keep a close eye on it for you. But the good news is at this point, there's nothing out there just screaming severe weather event, which is good news because we don't need the severe weather, but we do need the rain. We also need some cooler temperatures because this is getting ridiculous again across the area. So our heat risk today still in that moderate to even major category. Even though we're not at heat advisory levels, we still could see heat index values up to 100 degrees. And that'll continue with us into Wednesday and even into Thursday, but we start to see some improvements. Major improvements, though, as we head into Friday. In fact, on Friday's heat risk map, you can very clearly see where that cold front is heading as the majority of our area, in fact, all of our area, into the minor risk. And the minor risk sticks with us Saturday and Sunday, but you can see we start to see even more improvements. And by Monday, take a look at that. A good chunk of the area, little to no heat risk because it is going to get pleasant outside as we head into the next work week. All right, let's start outside once again. Another, let me move. Look at the sunshine colors back there. It looks nice. 74 in Joplin, south breeze at 5, dew point humidity both up there, hence why we'll still have those higher heat index values, just not nearly as high as they were yesterday and through the weekend. Still somewhat warm in our northern counties, or northwestern counties, really. 77, Yates Center, Iola, 76 in Chanute. The rest of us still hanging out low to mid 70s to start our day. A few clouds, again, maybe some isolated storms east of 69 this morning. Otherwise, partly cloudy, warm, mid-80s by 11 o'clock. We're going to have another look at your forecast, details on that cold front and the big helping hand it gives us next week here in just a moment, as well as the news you need to know. And when we make the switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., I got a story about a 12-year-old Virginia boy who's taking his passion for turtles and writing his own book.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Well, the Missouri Propane Safety Commission is helping in the investigation of an explosion that destroyed a house in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. The incident happened late Friday afternoon. The explosion killed the 2 residents along with their dog. The massive explosion could be felt and seen for many miles. The city of Pittsburgh is getting ready for its annual Paint the Town Red celebration. The event marks the first Gorillas home game of the season, and it also gives businesses a chance to get in on the celebration and business owners a way to give something back. Well, the Neosho Arts Council wants to invite young artists to participate in this year's Thomas Hart Benton Youth Art Competition and Exhibition. The competition is open to kids ages 8 to 12 and teens 13 to 17. Up to 3 entries will be accepted per young artist. The competition runs from September 20th through the 26th, and there are no entry fees. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And we've got a hot day out there again. No heat advisories, but heat index values still up to about 100 degrees. Could see some isolated pop-up storms this morning east of 69, and then again later this afternoon in our northwestern counties. Otherwise, most of us will be hot and dry with partly cloudy skies. Clearing out a bit late this evening and overnight, mostly clear skies back in the low 70s. We'll stay hot tomorrow and Thursday. Isolated storm chances tomorrow and Thursday. Cold front Thursday night brings thunderstorm chances on Friday. Check out the high Friday, mid-80s, upper 80s this weekend. We get another wave on Sunday. Doesn't bring much in the way of rain, unfortunately, but then really knocks those temperatures down. Overnight lows, upper 50s, highs in the low 80s next week. So just a few more days, and it's going to feel a lot better outside.
Oh, it's going to be so nice.
Oh, it absolutely will.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making loaded baked potato salad in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. High school sports are back, but working out in the summer heat is a major concern. Coming up next on CBS Mornings, see how one school is tackling the dangerous conditions to keep student athletes safe.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, area college students will have to wait again for federal aid assistance.
Plus, Charlene Patton joining us in the studio with another incredible recipe. However, that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.